There is a meeting happening right now inside your own head about how the people who ran into you last Tuesday felt about what you said. They don't remember. You could name 15 people whose opinion of you controls your day. What you wear, what you risk, what you decide not to try. Most of them, if asked, could not tell the interviewer where you work, whether you have siblings, or what you believe about anything. You are not being watched the way you think you are being watched. You are being watched by an audience that doesn't exist, using attention it never spent. The anxiety is real. It was also useful for a different species of life. For most of human history, human beings lived in groups of roughly 150. The number is not a guess. Robin Dunbar at Oxford in 1992 showed that primate group size scales with neocortex ratio. And for humans, the ceiling is around 150 stable relationships. In that group, everyone knew your story. Reputation was absolute. Being cast out was not embarrassing. It was fatal. You did not survive a winter alone. So the brain built a device. Mark Leary and Roy Baumeister named it in 1995. They called it a sociometer, a monitoring system that tracks your standing in the group and raises an alarm when rejection seems near. That alarm still fires. It just fires in a world where your group is now half the internet. Here's how the old program runs in the new environment, step by step. Step 1. A queue of possible rejection appears. An unread message, a flat reaction, a post that didn't land. Step 2. The sociometer fires, cortisol rises, attention narrows. Step 3. Your brain pulls up every face in your network and scans for threat. In a tribe of 150, this finishes quickly. Step 4. Your brain does not have a tribe of 150. It has former classmates, coworkers, exes, strangers. A feed refreshed every 6 seconds. The scan never finishes. Step 5. The system concludes, correctly by its own rules, that you are under constant low-grade social threat. It keeps the alarm on. That's the finished process. You wake up tired from a night of meetings you never attended. You rehearse arguments with people who are not thinking about you. You choose the safer sentence, the smaller risk, the version of yourself the imagined audience will approve of. You are not weak. You are running ancient code on hardware it was never built for. The part that isn't obvious is this. You are not being observed as closely as you think. In the year 2000, Thomas Gill O.H. Vitch at Cornell put students in embarrassing t-shirts and walked them through a room of peers. The students predicted that around half the room would remember the shirt. The actual number was about 23%. The gap between imagined attention and real attention is roughly twofold. And that study has replicated across decades, cultures, and contexts. Gill O.H. Vitch called it the spotlight effect. You are overestimating the spotlight by a factor of 2 because you cannot feel the room's attention from the outside. You can only feel your own. A related finding from 1998, also from his lab. The illusion of transparency. You think your anxiety shows. It doesn't. You think your interest is obvious. It isn't. You think the lie you told at dinner was broadcast on your face. It wasn't. Then there is the deeper layer. The minority of people who do notice, they judge from their own pain, not from yours. The parent who shames your choice is usually shaming a thing they fear in themselves. The peer who mocks is usually projecting. The critic who sneers online has a life of their own that is louder to them than you are. Most judgment isn't about you. It never was. The solution is not new. It is just rare. Around 170, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, a man with literal subjects, literal power, and literal public opinion at scale, took the problem seriously enough to write about it in a private journal he never intended to publish. Book 4 of his Meditations returns to the theme, the trap of monitoring what your neighbor thinks. 1600 years later, Ralph Waldo Emerson rebuilt the same idea for America. In his 1841 essay Self-Reliance, he wrote a line that still lands. Whoso would be a man must be a nonconformist. In the modern lab, the evidence stacks up. Kipling Williams at Purdue has been running a simple computer ball toss game since the early 2000s. In a 2015 meta-analysis of 120 of those studies, the effect of even trivial exclusion by strangers in a game that doesn't matter was large and reliable. The ancient and the modern agree. The instinct is real. The instinct is also very often wrong. But this isn't really about confidence. It's about accuracy. Confidence is loud. Accuracy is quiet. Confidence says, I don't care what anyone thinks. Accuracy says, most of what I feared was not happening. The freedom you get from this work isn't the freedom of not needing approval. You will need it. Humans always will. The freedom is from the approval you were imagining from people who were never there. Some feedback is worth hearing. The person who is in the work with you, who has skin in it, who can lose something by being honest. Their opinion matters. The critic in the stands with no stake, scanning a feed to feel briefly elevated. Their opinion is weather. The signal is real. The audience is a ghost. Marcus Aurelius wrote one line on this that survived 1800 years. How much trouble he avoids, who does not look to what his neighbor thinks. He wrote it to himself. He was not selling a book. He was an emperor, talking an emperor out of a trap. And still the trap was strong enough to need writing down. The trap has not gotten weaker. It has gotten infinitely larger. You have a feed now. You have strangers now. You have common threads that outlive every version of yourself who posted into them. And the question underneath all of that is narrower than it looks. You are already paying in attention and rehearsal and restraint for this audience every day. What exactly have you bought with the payment? Nobody is thinking about you the way you think they are, and the ones who are thinking about themselves. That isn't cold. That is room. Every week, another piece of the machine that moves people. Not the one you were sold. The one that works. Subscribe. The next one might be the one that finally lands.